All right, Schlockmeister fans, a sequel to The Hollywood Strangler meets the Skid Row Slasher. The Las Vegas serial killer. Let's check it out. So apparently after The Hollywood Strangler left Hollywood and went to Las Vegas and did the same routine.
How about the real thing, honey?
Took pictures of women and killed them. Sometimes he did it from the back seat of their own cars. Fast forward 6 or 7 years later.
WQXQ has just learned that the Nevada Parole Board has approved the release of self-proclaimed serial killer Jonathan Click from the state prison at Jean. Click has served only 6 years behind bars after claiming to have killed 7 young women in a murderous 5-day rampage in California and Nevada. Noting that the body of only one of his alleged victims was ever found, the parole board granted Click's release from a life sentence after 2 court-appointed psychiatrists said they believed his lurid claims of multiple murders were part of a misguided attempt to achieve notoriety.
So they gave him a lunch and sent him packing from prison, cast him right into the desert. Now those 2 guys we saw earlier are some sort of thugs who have also come to Las Vegas now. These 3 gotta meet. Here those 2 guys are again, ogling various women on the strip. So this babe in a bikini is at this party in Las Vegas somewhere for this guy named Cash Flag. And our killer is stalking her. And she's dead. Meanwhile, our other 2 thugs haven't graduated to murder yet. They're more into purse snatchings. And when they're not snatching purses, they attend a local air show at McCarran Field.
Okay. Oh, I bet that plane flies sideways.
I guess our main killer feels he needs some money, so why not get a job at a pizzeria? Later on, he stops into a burlesque show to watch, and this groovy chick named Kat Carson. She never even strips, she just dances around in that leotard. But he likes her. When he leaves there, he goes and finds a hooker. Not to sleep with.
That's 20.
How much to kill you, lady? Meanwhile, our other 2 thugs are admiring the ass of this jogger. Although I think they're more admiring her wallet. Yeah, go get her, boys. Our strangler is having fun at his pizza job, and he almost runs into our 2 thugs who come in to eat.
It is the second strangulation death of a young woman in Las Vegas over the past 48 hours.
Poster on the wall, another poster, another movie from our director. He makes deliveries too.
Hi, Pizza Man. Come on.
What a lucky guy. What are the odds?
About his whereabouts,
She takes off her top and hops in the hot tub.
but declined to describe.
He was about to choke her, but he had to leave because two other people showed up. He had his hands up, ready to choke her, but foiled. Put your choke hands away.
He's got the wrong
This lady got mad at her lover because he won't leave his wife. Our thugs get her. And toss her in the trunk. Time to go get Joe. Unless he can put up a good fight. Nope. As luck would have it, our strangler happened to be walking by a few minutes later, and he lets her out.
I could have died in here.
And then he kills her. Remember Cat Carson, the leotard lady?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give
Well, he's stalking her.
Miss Cat Carson. Come on, let's hear it for Miss Cat Carson.
Well, later on, there's a photo shoot at some mansion, and somehow he gets in there and kills her.
Maria, move your hand up there.
Oh my God!
And then he kills her. In the commotion after the bodies are found, he's able to slip out, but he takes a camera with him, which he immediately uses to take pictures of the people of Las Vegas. Meanwhile, this guy happens to walk by our two thugs. Go get him. In broad daylight this time. Although this time they don't get anything.
Oh, man. Hey, my first Las Vegas mugging. Wow. Thanks, guys.
Meanwhile, our killer has another woman who he's taking pictures of, who obviously becomes our next victim. Time to pick up another prostitute.
I'm going to show you a good time. Come with me.
Okay.
Keep an eye on the shadows.
Die, garbage.
Under the guise of a photographer, he manages to con his way into Cat Carson's house to take pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, you look great.
Oh, I'm keep this in my hair.
Oh, sure. Keep
Oh,
that.
I don't know if I'm dressed all right.
No, you just fine. Lay down, lay down.
There?
Yeah.
Oh,
Put your legs up.
all right.
He doesn't waste any time, though. And right in front of Pop the Smurf,
Don't worry about the camera.
Off of me!
Die, garbage.
Alright, I'm not sure our director knew how to end this film, so he has our thugs rip off a guy, and they're gonna bump right into our killer and accidentally or purposely shoot him. Not sure. But that's the end of our strangler, our Las Vegas serial killer, and the two thugs get away. All right, let's talk about the Las Vegas serial killer. I didn't know this movie existed until maybe 2004 or so, something like that. I'd known about the Hollywood Strangler meets a Skid Row slasher for years. I'd seen it a few times, and I was kind of stunned that a sequel was made. So I tracked down the pre-recorded VHS tape, and then I never watched it. Never watched it at all. Now, eventually, years later, I got the DVD. Actually, got it about a month or so ago, and I've watched it for the first time today. And you know what? I'm very happy I watched this movie because I enjoyed it. It's not a good movie by any means. It's a bad film. The first one was bad, but they're entertaining to me, and it's kind of just like reuniting with an old friend. I've seen the Hollywood Strangler meets a Skid Row slasher several times in my life, and I've enjoyed that because it's so over the top bad. It's just, and there's no dialogue in the movie. It's just overdubs. You hear their thoughts, and that's the exact same thing that happened in this movie. Ray Dennis Steckler directed the first one. He directed this one as well. Took place in Las Vegas, and apparently our Strangler, Pierre Agostino, the actor who plays Jonathan Click, he survived the end of the first movie, even though he was slashed. But apparently he survived, went from Hollywood to Las Vegas, killed a few more people, and then was arrested and thrown in jail. Now, apparently he allegedly killed 7 people, but they only found 1 body, so he could only be charged for 1. And they released him 6 years later because they think he really only did kill 1. He was probably just bragging about other people he killed and didn't actually do it, which we know he did. So apparently he got away with all those murders in Hollywood, right at the same time period. But anyway, he's released and he goes back to what he knows best. He strangles women. Sometimes he's acting like a photographer and manages to con his way into everybody's home and strangle them. And he always says, "Die, garbage, die, garbage," as he chokes them. That's his method of killing, is choking. Meanwhile, there's these 2 other thugs, these almost like biker dudes. They're not really bikers, though. They just wear jeans and black t-shirts. And I think a couple of them had a chain and a couple chains. And they just stalk people in Las Vegas and do petty crimes. Purse snatching, stealing. At one point, they lock a woman in a trunk, knock out her lover, and they just do petty things like this. And those 2 guys almost crossed paths with our Strangler a couple of times. Our Strangler actually gets a job at a pizzeria, and he has to go deliver a pizza to this one woman. He was going to choke her to death too, but she had some friends come over and he had to run away. But yeah, they almost crossed paths a couple of times. And after killing a few more people, strangling them, he was obsessed with this woman named Kat Carson, who he saw in this burlesque place where there had been a stripper earlier. But in this one, she just dances around like in this blue leotard, like it's jazzercise class or something. Never takes her clothes off at all. And just kind of gyrates on stage, but he's obsessed with her. We keep cutting back to her a couple times in this film in that same little dance sequence, just to pad the running time, I guess. But then eventually he's after he kills these 2 other models and steals a camera, he goes over to Kat's house to take pictures of her. He called her first to say, "Hey, I'm coming over," and she was fine with it because he's a photographer, I guess. Whatever, she let him in the house, and then he promptly killed her. And then the movie ends kind of abruptly. Our 2 thugs are ripping off this guy in a truck, and they come running out of this parking lot holding a gun, and then they run right into our Strangler, who I think the gun went off accidentally, and he falls to the ground dead or dying, and they take off running, and that's how our movie ends, just very abruptly. Like I said there in the video, I don't think Ray Dennis Steckler knew how to end the film, so they just did it very quickly like that. Very quick running time, 76 minutes, which I think is about 3 or 4 minutes longer than the first one. So, but again, I enjoyed this movie. I mean, it's not a good movie by any means, but like I said, it's reuniting with an old friend, and yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I don't know why. It's got some nice nude scenes throughout as well. The topless babe in the hot tub who we could not kill was probably the most attractive. Certainly had the biggest boobs, that's for sure. I wish I could have showed them to you. They were really nice. But anyway, that is the Las Vegas serial killer. That picture has nothing to do with this. The back of this has nothing to do with this. But anyway, this was put out by, I guess, Media Blasters, I think, put this thing out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So anyway, you can get this movie. I got this pretty cheap. It was between $5 and $10, I think, somewhere in that range, maybe $6, $7. I can't remember. But anyway, you can find it on eBay pretty inexpensively. So you should definitely check this out, and also check out the Hollywood Strangler meets the Skid Row slasher. It's a nice way to kill 2.5 hours and watch them both. Check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about it. The Las Vegas serial killer. Watch it. Bye.